here's the deal, here's the hardest part. You have to start your homework by being able to write a null and alternative hypothesis and recognize it. And it goes like this. The null hypothesis is going to receive one of these and then a number. Maybe the mean, maybe the proportion. The alternative hypothesis, matter of fact, I'm going to show you one. Here's a null, mean. They use symbols in your book and in PowerPoint, but I use words so you make sure. The mean, and then let's say it's a two-tail. Equals, and then I'm going to put a number here. I'm just putting a number right now, question mark number. The alternative, mean, is not equal, and then some number. Whatever the hypothesized number is, what the assumed number is. And then you're probably trying to, you are trying to prove that that number is not true. Your goal as a researcher is to say, I'm going to analyze this data because the whole reason I want to do this research is because I don't think this is true. And so this is why I want to do a sampling to see if it's far enough away from this to prove my point that this is not true anymore. Do you get it? This is what motivates people to do research, is because they believe something that we all believe could not possibly, maybe isn't true. Matter of fact, it's been a long time since we've taken a sample, so let's take a sample and see what the results are. If the results are so far away from that null hypothesis mean, then you just prove that that's no longer true. That something else is going on. Now, I want you to write the null and alternative hypothesis out loud. Hang on, I want to make sure I find it. There we go. Here we go. Some of these are hard. Are you ready? A research analyst disputes, so the researcher is disputing, a trade group's prediction that back-to-school spending will average $606.40 per family this year. The researcher, she believes that average back-to-school spending will differ from that amount. There was the key word, differ. It didn't say she believed it's more than that. It didn't say she believes it's less than that. Those two words would have been a one-tail. She said it's different than 606.40. That's what makes it two-tail. You get it? She wasn't claiming it's more, wasn't claiming it's less. She's claiming it's something different, meaning it could be more, it could be less. And that makes it two-tail. So here it is. This would be an equal, not equal to. The null hypothesis is equal to, what was the number, 606.40? This number would be 606.40. The alternative hypothesis is that the mean's not equal to 606.40, that the researcher believes that it's either less or more, that it's something different. Now, if all of a sudden we do our research and we get 607.40, we probably didn't prove it's different. It's got to be so different, depending on the significance given, that you're proving that the sample's saying, hey, look, the sample's telling us it can't be 606.40 anymore, because look how far away this number is than 606.40. It's so far away. And this is the calculation to prove just how far away it is. And then this. So, there's our first one. Let's see if I got it right. The null hypothesis is equal to 606.40. The alternative hypothesis is that the mean's not equal to 606.40. All right. Your first two homework problems is where you are reading it, and you got to write both the null and the alternative hypothesis based on what you read. So let's do another one. Can't go any more without giving away the answer. Okay. In general, it is generally believed that at least 60%, and be careful, these are from, this could be any three of these. I don't know what these could be any three of these. It is generally believed that at least 60% of the residents in a small town in Texas are happy with their lives. A sociologist, thank you, wonders whether recent economic woes have adversely affected, page 328, obviously I was copy and pasting this. Boom. Let me save. I already posted that, so ignore that when you guys download this, because I posted these for you. Adversely affected the happiness level in this town. Specifically, the null and alternative hypothesis to specify the null and alternative hypothesis to determine if the sociologist's concern is valid. Now let me read this again because I confused myself here. Here's the key words right here. I can see it in the first sentence. It is generally believed that at least 60% of the residents of a small town in Texas are happy. What is the researcher saying? That she or he believes that, no, wait a minute, I don't think at least 60% are happy. I don't think at least 60%. So this is a one-tail. Notice it doesn't say equals 60%, and the other one doesn't say not equal to 60% or different from 60%. This says at least 60%. So here we go. Here's the null. The null proportion is, the null proportion, this one isn't a mean, it's a proportion, is greater than equal to 60%. Notice the equals on the null hypothesis. It always has to be on the null. Greater than equal, because the words at least 60%, that means 60% or more. The sociologist is saying, no, I don't think that's true anymore. And so the alternative would be that the proportion is less than 60%. This is a one-tail. And notice what the sociologist is trying to prove is the alternative. And we'll learn that formula 2 weeks from now so that you can calculate that. It'll be just like this. You're gonna get a test statistic Z. You're gonna plug it in one of these two. It's the same exact formula here. This is being used for all three of these. One of these two formulas, you found the p-value. You determine if the p-value is less than the significance. If it is, you reject the null. What are we rejecting? I'm rejecting that at least 60% of the residents of the small town in Texas are happy. I'm rejecting that because my p-value was less than my significance. You get it? And therefore, the alternative, that the citizens of the small town of Texas, it must be less than 60% are happy because of the economic woes. The sociologist was correct that the attitudes have changed, if that's how it turns out. Or the sample results, hey, we sampled 40 residents from the town. We asked them if they're happy or not. Out of 40, 20 of them said yes. What is that? That's 50%. So now we would go 50%. Well, no, this isn't the formula. When we get to that formula, it'd be 50% minus the 60%, blah, 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 blah. Let's do another. Whoop. Suppose the sociologist wants to establish that the mean retirement age is greater than 67. One tail or two tail by that sentence?
One tail.
One tail. Greater than 67. Suppose the sociologist wants to establish that the mean retirement. Now this is saying they want to establish that it's greater than 67. It is assumed the retirement age is normally 67 or less. Okay, remember, the alternative is what the researcher, the sociologist, or whoever this is talking about, is what they're trying to prove. The null is what's assumed, is the opposite of what they're trying to prove. In this case, the null would be 67 or less, equal or less than 67. The alternative, what they're trying to prove, is that the mean retirement age is greater than 67. So this would be, here it is in writing, the mean for the null is less than equal to 67. The mean for the alternative is greater than 67. Now this is exactly how you do the first part of your homework, is you're writing the null and the alternative hypothesis, and since we're only doing this one, you know it's going to be h sub o dot dot mean, h sub a dot dot mean. For every answer where you got to write the hypothesis, it starts like that because we're not doing proportions this week on the homework. So you know it's going to be mean. You then have to, this is where you got to decide. Is it a one tail or two tail? Is this the less than? Is this the equal? Is this the less than equal? Is this the greater than equal? Is this the not equal to? Is this the less than or is this the greater than? You got to figure that out. And what number is on the right side? That's what you got to do for your homework. Everybody get the first part? Everybody understand what's expected? Writing the hypothesis. All right, we got that far.